Hi Hoopers, Katie here, and today I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to static shoulder hoop. So static shoulder hooping is when you are standing in one place, you're not spinning around, and you're shoulder hooping. So it looks something like this. Not static shoulder hooping would be, turning or using brakes or something like that, mainly turning. But so static would be, facing forward, facing the side, whatever. Either way, you're not moving, the hoop is still rotating, but you're facing one direction. This will take a little bit of work to perfect. It took me several months, but probably the biggest advice I can give you is to use a larger hoop. So I was used to using like a 32-inch hoop, and when I started practicing this and working on it all the time, I was working with a 38-inch hoop, and now I work with like a 35-inch hoop. So this is like a 3/4 polypro. It's like 35 inches. And this is like my preferred hoop for shoulder hooping, for doing vertical stuff, for static stuff, whatever. So if you work with a smaller hoop, it's going to be way harder to do this. So I definitely recommend sizing up or going back to your beginner hoop when you work on this. First thing you want to do is kind of have like a stance. I kind of keep my feet at a little wider stance, and sometimes it helps me to kind of like bend a little bit rather than just staying like, stick straight. So I'm bending at the knees a little bit, and I'm rocking back and forth. So my weight is kind of going back and forth, side to side. And you really have to work your arms with this. So again, I've got my stance, and I'm rocking side to side, and I am pumping my chest while also keeping my arms, my upper arms, in close to my body. And one thing you might really notice is that I have my pusher arm, when you learn how to shoulder hoop, you have your pusher arm. That one's really working. So for me, it's my right hand, and it's almost like I'm just kind of wiping a table or waving kind of side to side with it, and I'm shrugging my shoulder up, but I'm trying to keep everything nice and tight in here. So this is just like your regular shoulder hooping, but everything has to be faster and tighter, so you're just kind of more on point with it because it's not slowing down as you're turning. So this is opposite direction, which I'm still working on, but when I do it in one direction for too long, I get a cramp. So here you can see just kind of from like the other side what's going on. You'll see on this hand over here, I'm really kind of moving my shoulder, moving my elbow. You'll also notice my chest really kind of moving here, and you notice I also kind of have a different stance this way as well, just because of how I turned. The other thing that can help as well is to lean back a little bit when you're doing this. Sometimes it helps to kind of lean back and pump your chest up a little bit when you're first kind of learning this. So you'll see my stance here is I'm just kind of pushing my chest up, and you'll notice I'm pulling my shoulders back like this to push my chest out and then rounding them. So this is just, it's like chest hooping, which I think is a little bit easier, but just trying to keep your arms kind of in. So when you push up a little bit, the hoop does get a little angled, and you can't get, you know, into angled hooping this way. But for some people, I think it helps to kind of lean back just a little bit, or to think about pushing their chest up instead of out. The other thing that can be helpful too is, like I said, kind of taking another stance, your legs a little bit wider, just so that you can kind of bounce and kind of rock back and forth a little easier, and you have a more stable footing, so you're not like inclined to turn or anything. When I stand like this and try and do it, I feel like it's definitely not as easy. I don't feel as balanced as I do when I have that like stable ground. So really pay attention to what you're doing with your feet. All right, guys, so those were my tips and tricks for working on static shoulder hooping. I hope you guys enjoyed that and got a lot out of it. Don't forget to subscribe, check out my other tutorials, and good luck. Happy hooping.